And then season 3.
Yeah, season 3 just goes mad. Season 3, we're just exploding everything.
Boom.
Season 3 is we're being as free as we can. I mean, season 3 pushes every boundary out there. Hi.
Hello.
Guys, I'm Jonatan Blomberg, writing for MovieZine in Sweden.
Nice.
Hi, Jonatan. Hi.
How are you?
Hi. Yeah, I'm doing great, especially now when I get to speak with the two of you, of course. So actually, I wanted to start with you, Rosamund, since you actually are voicing the books as well. So you kind of get to play all the characters and Moraine on this show. So I was wondering if that has in any way shaped your performance, getting like getting to be inside of all the characters in a way on that job as well.
Well, thanks for recognizing that part of the work too. It has been amazingly interesting in that I've understood a lot more about Robert Jordan's imagination and quite how profoundly the interiority of all these characters matters to the books, which is obviously something that's very, very hard to put on screen. So there are amazing sequences for Perrin, for Rand, of their struggle, their internal battle. A lot of the Wheel of Time is about characters and the internal battle between what they're fighting and who they present themselves as in the outside world. Temptation, some essential feeling of resisting your destiny, but it comes from inside, fighting against what the wheel has in store for you. And it's very, very hard to represent on screen. And Josha has, the largest part of that struggle to portray and find a physical, mental language for on screen. Don't you?
We can do a segue there because my next question were going to be like it's a bit anticlimactic for especially your two characters in the end of the first season, where things doesn't happen as they had planned in the way they had planned it, at least. And your character kind of have to deal with that during this season. And Josha, how has that been to kind of portray what Rosamund was talking about, that inner struggle that your character has at the start of this season, at least?
Well, it feels like for Rand, it's all internal, and and he can't really. The very few places where he can express himself, who he wants to be. And that's why I think it's very interesting that at the start of season 2, Rand is working at a place where he's taking care of people who struggle with their mental health. And that feels like the only place where he can actually be himself. And once he goes out of those walls, he has to hide himself, and he's carrying a lot of secrets. He's not only carrying a lot of secrets, like he is the secret. He is the Dragon Reborn. He is a man who can channel, and every time he channels, he comes closer to the madness, and he can't talk about it with anyone else. And then if he does, for the danger for man that can channel is that they kill the people they love first. So he can't have love in his life. Like his love it seems like his life is just impossible, and he's just struggling with that all by himself in complete isolation.
I think Robert Jordan really goes down that path of people who have tremendous responsibility also live a life of a great loneliness, because having, Moraine too, she's charged with this almost impossible task of finding the Dragon Reborn and guiding him to the last battle. She doesn't know there's no roadmap for that job. There's no job description. Yeah. It's just got to be a commitment to putting that first above everything. And you understand it's very lonely, but if you're going to do it, if you're going to live your life by it and stand up for it, then you have to sacrifice everything else for it. And we see both of these characters sacrifice the relationships closest to them for the sake of their destiny, I suppose.
Yeah, for the world.
Big stuff. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot for your time, and best of luck with the premiere of this season.
We've made it sound incredibly serious and very hard work, but it is also, it's great fun to do. I think when anyone who's watched season 1, season 2 just kind of deepens everything and takes us into these character dimensions and allows us, this great canvas to work on. So,
and then season 3.
Yeah, season 3 just goes mad. Season 3
we're just
exploding everything.
Boom.
Season 3 is we're being as free as we can. I mean, season 3 pushes every boundary out there at the moment. So
yeah, I can't wait. Hi guys, I'm Jonatan Blomberg, writing for MovieZine in Sweden.
Hi.
Hey, Jonathan.
Nice
How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great, especially now when I get to speak with the 3 of you, of course. I wanted to start by asking Ceara and Dónal how it was to join this cast for the second season, and maybe not knowing as much as the rest of the cast what you were going to expect from this project. So how was it to join?
Yeah, I think we were really lucky with joining the show, because the cast were just so welcoming and took us in with open arms, and were incredibly supportive in guiding us through the huge and wonderful world that is the Wheel of Time. So we kind of had these incredible mentors almost as we joined the show, and not only that. Joining a fantasy show of this size, we had these incredible sets and props and costumes and hair that we could interact with, and we're so lucky that we work with very little green screen, so you have so much to actually kind of interact with, that really just help you kind of fall into the world, and as overwhelming as it is maybe on the first day, pretty soon you just start to feel like second nature, and yeah, it was just a really wonderful experience.
Yeah, seconded. I mean, you're totally right, Jonathan, that there's a possibility that something like this could feel really daunting, and I'm sure on the lead up to it, there were probably things that I put the blinkers on and I kind of didn't try to think about. And those things are the size of the sets, or the amount of fantastic people that are behind the scenes here. But what it does make is that you feel really supported by a phenomenal amount of people that are there to want to make your job as easy and as truthful as it can be. And my first days on set were with Kate Fleetwood, who plays Leandrin, and our director of season 2 is Tom Napper as well. And those were my first days on set, and it just meant that we were just looking after what's happening in the scenes, our connection to our characters, and the dynamic of what we both want, and that allowed it not to feel daunting. And then everything else, I think, kind of came with time. So I feel really lucky that my introduction to it was with Tom and Kate, because it was a very enjoyable and not daunting experience.
Yeah, and Dónal, your character is not new, but you're new to play that specific character. Was that something that you talked about with the creators on how to bridge the gap? Because they called it out before the first second dropped about how seamless this transfer was. So how did you guys make it feel so seamless? I've seen the first 3 episodes, so I can vouch for that too. But how did you actually make it happen?
Yeah, it inevitably was a conversation with the creative team. You spoke with Rafe Judkins and Justine Gilmer, and I think what felt important was that there's a kind of essential essence or spirit of the character that is there in the source material, the books, and also in the scripts. And so, season 1 wasn't out yet, of course. So it felt right to kind of map Matt's journey through season 1 by reading those scripts and kind of imagining how that context is almost like a backstory to arrive me at the start of season 2, and meet it as any other script, any other character. And I think we had an amazing dialect coach as well, and I thought once there was a consistency within the voice and the energy of the character, I think everything else followed suit. And from the source material, just gathering the way that this man sees the world and his beliefs, his kind of what excites him, what scares him, all of that is very just true to the character. And I think if both performances have that, then I think there's a great consistency, and everything else is just, flourish or like color,
Yeah. And Marcus, you're coming back for the second season, so you're a veteran now. But me being a Swede, without spoiling anything, I know that there is at least one scene with my fellow countryman Forrest. So I was wondering a bit if you could talk about how it was working with him on set.
Yeah, man. He's just amazing. He's just amazing. I think from the episodes we've seen, he's someone who's like really stood out of like how he's I think he's gonna take season 2 by storm. Really, he's played it so cleverly, and it's a role that is really, really cool. And I think we're really lucky when you start out in your career to have people like that come into the show with such confidence and such understanding of themselves and how they work, and you can kind of almost just by like osmosis kind of take that kind of practice that they have. And I think he was someone that I had a scene with him quite early on in quite an intimate setting, and I think he just set the pace for it really. And you kind of really, really learn so much from working with someone like that in a close space. And I think sometimes on this show where there's so much VFX and huge sets with a lot of essays, and having just like a one-to-one scene with someone like that is amazing, and it can develop your character at such a faster rate. And Faris is one of those actors who's come in and you just learn so much learned so much from, sorry. And I think I think throughout season 2, I think he's going to be a character that people really, really enjoy to watch.
Yeah, I hope so too. And your character, the arc is quite specific. Not to spoil anything, but I was wondering how much like from the books have you gotten from there, and how much do you take from the script, like to make it feel true to your character?
Yeah, I think in season 1, obviously there's quite a few changes from quite early on. So I think it was really nice to kind of lay that groundwork in terms of where he is and the kind of the trauma and stuff. But I think season 2, it kind of started to come back into sort of like things from the book, from Eye of the World and The Great Hunt as well. So it was really nice to kind of go back and find those kind of characters and those chapters, and kind of he starts on the hunt for the horn with the Shienarans. And I think I think it's been amazing to kind of see the arc throughout the books, but to kind of delve into the scripts as well. And I think that alignment where their kind of arcs kind of correlate to one another is really, really cool. And going into season 3 now is something that's really, really exciting.
Yeah. And for my final question, I wanted for you, Ceara, to have a moment just to introduce your character a bit, since she's the new character of this bunch. So who are you playing?
So I'm playing Elaine Khan. She is the daughter heir of Andor, so she's next in line to the Lion Throne. And she's a really interesting character because she obviously has the elegance and the poise of someone who has been training to be a queen since the day she was born. But she also has the heart of a lion. and she really she's like a deeply honorable woman with great loyalties and a real sense of duty for someone so young. And she's also incredibly intelligent. She loves learning about the different kind of cultures over which she rules. So I think she'll be a really interesting character to watch in season 2. She really brings a different dynamic for Egwene and Nynaeve to interact with, because she's not someone that they've kind of encountered before. And Elaine herself is kind of on this journey of making new friends, because it's not something that she's encountered before in her life as well. She's been raised in a way where she hasn't necessarily felt like being a queen and having friends is something that can coexist. So it's been really interesting to kind of play that realization within her that maybe it is something that she could have.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot for your time, and best of luck with the premiere. Hi guys, I'm Jonatan Blomberg. I'm writing for MovieZine in Sweden.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Right back at you. So I actually just got the first 3 episodes of the second season last night. So I watched them all.
Cool.
So I'm now eagerly having to wait until fall to get the rest. So I know that you had already like started shooting the second season when the first one was arriving, right? So
Yes.
so it's been a while since you shot the scenes that I just saw. But how was that to actually be working on the second season while the first one was airing?
I remember it being quite. I remember there was like this huge sense of anticipation because we'd been working on season 1 for so long, and it almost felt like perhaps we were just like working into this void and it was never going to come out. And it was such a relief that it did, and we got to celebrate that with a premiere. I think it was good in a way that we kind of jumped straight into season 2. We just went straight back into work mode. And so we were quite sheltered with the release and the reception, so we could just kind of carry on doing what we've been doing. And
the sets and everything on this show, it's I guess Prime Video has deep pockets a bit because it's on the screen. So how is it to play pretend in a world that seems so real?
I mean, it's incredible, I think that's one of the most inspiring aspects of the job, is looking around and seeing people that have worked tirelessly to bring this show to life. When you come to set and you see people paying such fine attention to, a torch or to, some buttons on a costume, it's like you realize what a massive team you're a part of. And I always get an overwhelming sense of pride to be able to come onto a set and know that I'm a piece of the puzzle. And, I get to wear these costumes. I get to walk around in this set. I get to interact with the other cast that are here as well. You definitely have pinch me moments. And, where it's what an incredible series to be a part of. The characters that we play are such dimensional people, so really you find yourself just with a plethora of inspiration to draw from. But being in that world, you guys are on the magical end of the stick. So I was wondering if it's hard to keep from laughing since the effects come afterwards. So I guess you can't actually see what you're doing or the weaving and stuff like that. So how is it to do that?
Honestly, you just have to go for it. You absolutely can't half-ass it, excuse my French. Else it won't translate. It requires a lot of imagination and trust too, that you won't end up looking like a bit of a tool. I think one of the few times I think it made me hysterical was Maddie and I at the end of season 1. We were essentially being burnt to a pulp, and we were just kind of convulsing on top of each other. So there are moments where you look around and you're like, what am I doing? You know, there's 50 people standing watching us just like
convulsing in a
on sand. But yeah, you do have to just absolutely believe in the truth of the moment and commit.
Yeah. So thanks a lot for your time, and best of luck with the premiere this fall.
Thank you.
I'm Jonatan Blomberg, writing for MovieZine in Sweden.
Nice to meet you. I'm looking at all your background posters and all your stuff. That's a really, really cool setup.
Thanks. You might end up here one day. It's my shrine of people I've done interviews with. So now you qualify.
It would be my honor.
Yeah. So I've obviously watched the first season when it came out, and I've also been honored enough to have a peek at the first 3 episodes of the second season, and I know that you guys were already taping the second season while the first one was coming out, or at least about to. So was wondering a bit how that experience was, having spent so long time developing the show and then having it come out and still shooting it while it's coming out as well. How was that experience for you?
It's very unique. It's very unique. I mean, it's a massive show. I mean, I can tell you right now, we're shooting season 3. I'm home now. I've been here for 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. They're still shooting.
Yeah.
You know, they're still shooting. Wheel of Time is actively shooting. So, but that's kind of what I was hopeful for when I took the show too, is that the cast would get so large. I knew there were so many characters in Robert Jordan's world that we would have breaks and it wouldn't be, 9 months straight of shooting for everyone. So it's nice to have some time off, but it's very surreal because we've been working on the show for 4 years and season 1 is all that's been out. I mean, season 2 is coming out soon, but yeah, it's really interesting. It's a machine that keeps moving. And then you watch back, like I've seen most of season 2 and some of the stuff I forgot that we did. And I just had an interview where he said, do you remember your first day of work on season 2? And I thought, I don't really remember where I was in the world, but it's tricky.
It's a mix. This season, since things didn't end up the way your character and Moraine's character kind of were hoping it were going to, and if it would, we wouldn't have all these other seasons, I guess, as well. So it's a double-edged sword there. But your character has to kind of deal with that aftermath now. And how was those scenes to shoot with Rosamund?
It's tricky because Rosamund and I have become so close, right? So
yeah,
we're very used to being together, and we created sort of this like symbiotic relationship where we kind of it's like kind of art imitating life, or vice versa, life imitating art, where I kind of know what she's thinking, and we'll move the same way, and we'll have the same order from Crafty or the same dinner order. It's very strange. So being split away from her took me some time to get used to. Like, this is the first time I've done interviews without her. We always do interviews together. So it was fine. It's important for the characters to live on their own, create their own energy, have their containers. So that was, it was a bit frightening, but I think it worked out for the best. Good
to hear. So now when you've stepped into this world for a while now, almost 4 years, as you said, how much did you know about this world prior to entering into this project from before? Were you a fan before, or did you become one after entering it now?
No, I didn't know much about the Wheel of Time. I do about the Lord of the Rings and things like that. My fantasy sort of experience was very much with like Princess Bride, Dungeons and Dragons, things like that growing you know, in the 80s. But as soon as I got the scripts, I dove as much as I could into it because it's endless source materials. So, you know, books like New Spring were very helpful for me. Of course, The World, but just for character building. It's just an honor to be a part of it. It's really, and now they're doing some of the novels. The novels have been recovered, and I think they're putting like some of our characters on the novel covers. It's just so cool, man. So like that kind of stuff makes me it's kind of like pinch me moments.
Yeah, I'm going through the books for the first time with Rosamund as the narrator. So
yeah, she's pretty great, right?
Yeah. So thanks a lot for your time, and best of luck with the premiere. And I hope we get to speak again when the third season is due.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot.